Steve, I think he's coming in person from up the and us taking care of this. And it does take much work. She's still in the. She is, but they never can find a home place to take care of them. And the gal who takes care of her during the week comes all morning and evening, and she will sometimes come on the weekend, but every once in a while, we will take time off. And so then that's when she called us. So she texted me.
Morning, Dave.
Yeah.
Morning.
So Steve had to over that, and she's middle aged and not physical. And she will not go to physical therapy, which will make her easier to transfer because she wouldn't be so stiff. So this is how her body shifts. And so we have to get her out of the wheelchair, pull her up so she can hold on to the grab bar, and then do everything else for her, so she doesn't get it on.
What's the weather in Florida?
It's about 75 right now, I guess, or closer to 80, and supposed to get close to 88 or so today, I guess, and sunny. So about normal for this time of the year. What's it like up there? I didn't check to see what it's doing in Indiana this morning yet.
It's about 68 right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember what it's going to get up to, 80 something. 81.
Sounds like a nice day.
Yeah. Sunny.
Muddy?
Sunny.
Oh, sunny, good.
Morning, Christy.
Morning, Sue, and everybody.
What they're doing in Iowa, Dale?
68, I think. But now it's going to be up closer to 90, I think, for the afternoons out. But it's sunny and pretty nice all in all.
Good.
You gotta sit up on one of the front benches. Works better. So people can see.
Well, we're glad you're here.
To defrocked wayward minister. No, we weren't defrocked.
No, I was never frocked.
I was. And I ran into the guy.
There's some belt buckles.
1970.
Oh, gee. I had somebody one time that say she'd heard the former, the guy who was 3 guys before me, his best sermon ever and what it was on. Yeah. What was my sermon? He was dead.
You thought that maybe you did. Well, now that's good. Now that's not a bad memory.
Morning, Steve.
Who's that? Is that?
Hello, Steve. Hello, Christy.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Steve. Who?
Well, if you sit down, he'll know who it is because it'll
Where
pick
do
you
you
up
like to
sitting
sit?
like on these front benches.
Well, if I forgot to sit up that place.
Have to got to sit up front on these benches. It shows up better on the camera.
I don't care.
Well, the people sit better on.
Since when has Beth ever been compliant with what looks better or works better?
Beth, troublemaker.
You're trying to tell Beth what to do.
Oh, why?
I've been trying for 50 years. Hi, Stan. Morning.
Here you wrestled with a gate.
My gate? Yeah. Yeah, I did. It's all right.
But this means I can't read during.
Sure you can.
I'm just gonna play the piano, you can read, you can go in the corner and stand on your head, you can do whatever you want.
Sweetie, how are you?
Already established temperature is in Florida. See there.
It is 80.
Yuck.
It's supposed to come back in here, what, starting tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean,
Back in the 90s all week through next Sunday.
I'm gonna make the corn and beans grow.
yeah,
Have you ever
they're
heard
looking
of
good.
How's he?
I haven't heard anything.
He lives in Philadelphia.
I vaguely remember him here, but that was before my time.
I haven't heard anything lately.
Steve, did you get an opportunity to look at the parking lot?
I did. I think it looked really good.
It does.
Yes, yes.
He came here and did our driveway after, the day after he did that. He does a good job.
Is the driveway?
Hmm?
They striped this driveway?
Hmm.
They striped your driveway? No, they resurfaced it.
Yeah. They put a big handicap sign
That-
there for
That's right,
the old people.
yeah.
For the old people,
He already,
Nancy said, "Who's that?" And I said, "Steve." Not-
he already has his private parking spot, because he's got that, you know, the canopy thing that he parks
Ah.
under, so. He doesn't need any blue lines saying this is where he has to park or whatever.
Dave, I was thinking of you yesterday. The guys baled hay yesterday. And we don't touch it with our hands anymore. Everything's done with big round bales and tractors. I don't miss the hand one at a time like you and your dad used to do.
they'll have
I
to,
don't-
yeah, they'll
I
have
don't
to
miss it either.
keep them that way.
I
They'll have to handle them.
that Jericho was pastor, young and stupid, and said, "Well, if anybody ever needs help," and they knew. And boy, I was on the hay wagon, throwing it up, you know. I'd never been so tired and dirty in my life.
Probably
They
the
thought-
same problem I did. When I
They
was
thought-
in East Valley.
You didn't want to do it as a earn a living, huh?
No, I didn't want to do it to earn a living.
All I ever had was on the back of the hay wagon.
Good for you.
More power to you, better you than me.
My
that's all
brother
I
used to
say.
think I'd lost my mind.
Morning, Jonathan.
Morning.
Is it nice down in Kentucky, Jonathan, or is it hot?
It's pretty nice. We had a heat advisory a few days last week, and then we had some rain, and it's cooled things off a little bit. So we're enjoying a little more agreeable weather after that.
Yeah, the heat's supposed to build back in here starting tomorrow, so. You sit next to Chip if you want to watch the screen. They'll still pick you up.
First you wanted me to sit up.
No, I just sat on one of these benches around here in the front row. Like you take orders anyhow. And Terry,
Just like you bad mouth Beth about taking orders, look in the mirror.
And I just like when I'm on Zoom, I enjoy looking to see who else is on.
yeah,
Zoom.
well,
This was
okay.
I always wanted to be on the facing bench. I never was.
Well, now you are facing bench.
I was a guest speaker.
Sorry, guys, I forgot to tune this thing down.
That's okay. Zoom liked it, it picked it up right away.
I wonder if lots of churches are gonna, is forced to do both in person and Zoom at the same time.
Yeah,
I mean, for a long time, forever.
I think so. Well,
Yeah,
attendance is
a couple,
stronger.
3 or 4. Yeah.
Well, I think it's,
get a couple of each.
time, so welcome to Meeting for Worship, and happy Father's Day to those who are fathers or act like fathers, or so.
Yeah. All right.
And just a reminder, we will at 10:45 be having a monthly meeting for business. All are invited to attend as we discuss, begin discussions about the meeting house itself, the physical property, not about the meeting. We are continuing on, of course, so it's just the beginning of a discussion, so all are invited to attend. Are there joys or concerns to share?
I came by the marathon station and gas is under $5. That was
Okay.
a joy.
That's a joy. Any update on Troy?
He's still not in good shape. He had a temperature last night and he just stays in bed all the time.
What about his biopsies or anything?
Oh, his biopsy came back good. It was negative, so he doesn't have cancer. So that was a real good blessing, but he still isn't well and can't get in to see a doctor till September.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
52 years ago tomorrow, Nancy and I got married right there. Well, we're still trying to figure it out.
Well, happy anniversary tomorrow. Well, we have the joy of announcing that our granddaughter Alexis and her husband Josh are no longer squatters in the house they built. They moved in the day they were supposed to close on their house, and the closing got pushed back and pushed back and put, so they finally closed on Friday, so they are officially homeowners. They didn't tell the builder that they were living there. They moved in, so they are officially in their new house. I said, we have Laura, Mike, and then Lexi and Josh, and then our house all on the, what used to be our property. I said, we're like the Kennedys without the money. Everybody living there. And then the little rental house, the young woman who's moving in there came and picked up the keys. She's like 22 or 23, and her dad's a state highway patrolman who lives down, well, that's what we said in Ohio. It's a state policeman who lives down the road from us and his friends. So we've got this young renter in there who works at Blueberry Hill Pancakes. If you go eat there, ask for Emma. She's all excited. It's her first place.
What did she do before?
She just got back a couple of years ago from a mission trip to, I forget which country in Africa, but she spent 2 years in Africa on a mission trip with her church. So she's very personable. So we're happy to have the house rented, and Laura and Mike are happy to have Lexi and the kids out of their house. They celebrated by going on a cruise.
Well, we just had a joy. We had breakfast with our son Jeff and his wife Lisa at Bob Evans' a while ago, which was kind of nice.
Well, as a longtime visitor, being in the meeting house is different than Zoom. And I think of that scripture, so great a cloud of witnesses, and all the people that have worshiped here through the years. And I'm also reminded that those folks could have a discussion on presenting liberal, moderate, and conservative points of view and have a civilized discussion. And that was not known how rare that is now, and how it was appreciated back then, but the appreciation was unspoken.
Yes, and we're blessed to be able to continue that tradition today in this meeting. All people are equally welcome to come as they are and express who they are. Well, we will enter into some silence. Lynn is our worship leader this morning, so we invite you to put yourselves on mute just for feedback purposes, and then we will I will turn it over to Lynn now to lead us out of the silence as she feels led.
Loving God, we thank you for your presence here with us this day. We thank you for that cloud of witnesses that does surround us as we meet here in the meeting house. All the many people who have been a part of this meeting over the years and who in a sense are still here with us. We thank you for their presence. We thank you for your presence, for your guidance through this meeting for worship. Amen. Well, Sylvia's message a couple of weeks ago about questioning God has really stuck with me. As a matter of fact, I went back and I watched it again on YouTube, and I don't really do that very often. I suppose her message stuck with me because I've always been one of those people who had to question God when I bumped into some sort of challenging situation. Eventually, I will get to acceptance, but I sure don't start there like some people may, or I start farther away from that than some people do. A good example for me is Father's Day. Because my dad passed away nearly 50 years ago, Father's Day has often been a day of mourning for me rather than a day of celebration. Kind of like somebody was pouring salt in a wound. It's a reminder of what I have missed in life rather than a chance to celebrate the great person that my dad was. Dad got sick when I was 18 and passed away right before I turned 21. So I never had the opportunity to become friends with him adult to adult, as I did with Mom. And I miss that even now. Having said that, though, I have finally come to some peace with that situation and can celebrate great fathers in my life like Steve and Jeremy and Steve's dad, John. I looked for hymns about questioning God, but didn't really come up with anything that struck my fancy. However, there are lots of hymns about how God understands our situations and about accepting that God is in charge of our lives if we give God the opportunity. So those are the hymns that I'm going to play today.
Thank you, Lynn. We'll now continue with unprogrammed worship. We know some who need to depart, so those who do, we bid you Godspeed, and we will hopefully see you next Sunday. And remind you that if you can, please rejoin for monthly meeting at 10:45. Listening to Lynn's hymns about God's care and her own struggles with the whys at times, and thinking about Father's Day too. I was thinking about my dad, of course, and I was thinking about especially how about every other summer when we were kids, he would take us up to Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, in a not near as fancy as it is now, amusement park. And we'd get there and he would immediately head to a big old wooden roller coaster. I don't remember the name of it, but he would get in line and ride the roller coaster. And then he'd get back in line and ride the roller coaster. It's like mom was left to fend with us 4 kids. Or if we went with my grandparents and other cousins, we'd all take off. I was never tempted to get on a roller coaster. I'd ride the little kids one, that was fine, but Dad seemed like he would ride that. I bet he rode it 5 or 6 times every time we were there. He just loved the roller coaster. And he was always trying to talk me into going, and I would never do it. It was too scary for me. Later, when I was an adult, a friend of mine tricked me onto going onto a roller coaster because he was in line with his wife, and she wanted to go on this new one that had a corkscrew and a loop-de-loop. And at the last minute, he said he just really had to excuse himself and that I would go with her. And the car was boarding, and so I found myself on this thing doing corkscrews, and I mean, I was scared to death on that thing, and of course, I survived, I'm here. But I did read, I called Dad later that night, long distance, long before cell phones, and told him of my adventures, and he thought that was great fun that I'd finally gone on a roller coaster. That was the last time too, I will say. But a number of years later, when I was reading a book, it was by a fellow named Garrett Kaiser, pastor up in Vermont, and he wrote, and I've never forgotten this story, that he said that God, life with God was like getting on a rickety old roller coaster. And it looks pretty dangerous, and it creaks and it moans as you travel it. And there are all these dips and high places when you just lurch over the edge. And that's, and God is the operator of this roller coaster. And you've got to trust that he knows what he's doing, because at the end, you will be safe. And as he said, it may not be physically safe, but you'll end up where you're supposed to be, back in the arms of God. And I thought, yeah, life's like that for me at times. I didn't get in line to get on this ride that I'm aware of. And there are times it's awfully scary, and I'm thinking, what are you thinking, God? This is not what I prayed for. Certainly not what I wanted. And yet, for some reasons, it seemed to be what I've needed as I look back. And I'm not that adventuresome, but slowly learning to trust. And to me, that's what it's about ultimately, is to trust that I'll end up seeing the face of my loving God and be welcomed home. Well, if all hearts are clear, I think we'll close worship this morning. Again, thanks, Lynn.
Welcome,
Thank you, Lynn. Really enjoyed it.
welcome.
And a reminder, we will have an important monthly meeting at 10:45. All are invited, so we've got a little time to stretch and set up. Jonathan, you're welcome to attend. It's open to all members and attenders, if you'd like. No obligation to. So we'll sign off and hope to see you in about 25 minutes or sooner. We'll get set up as soon as we can and log on, but.
Bye.
Bye.
Not here, you already said something about Donovan a while ago.
Somebody was asking